What's up, tricksters, and welcome to the very first episode of Yoru to Immortal series, a series where I'll try to reach Immortal by only playing Yoru, while teaching you a lot of pro tips, tricks, and strategies for smart grind in Valorant. The goal is to have the absolutely highest win rate while showcasing you some high elo knowledge that you can abuse to rank up faster. You should consider this whole series like an in-depth agent guides that you won't find anywhere else. And I highly recommend you to watch every video from beginning to the end if you don't want to miss some important information for your improvement. Also, during this series, same as with Jet, Omen and Raze, I'm making the ranked playbook with the best Yoru executes and tactics for every single map. That is gonna help you a lot to unlock his full potential. You can get access to this playbook on my Discord server for private coaching, link is in the description, and if you have any questions about Yoru, feel free to ask me down in the comments. By the way, all of these games are streamed live on my Twitch channel, and you can join me on this journey where I'm trying to improve the whole Valorant community. Because, as you already know, I've got Radiant in every episode from closed beta, I'm one of the most experienced and oldest Valorant coaches, and I truly believe that anyone, yes, even you, can improve in this game, reach Radiant, or become a professional player. So, let's start with the placement matches and let's see which rank we are going to get on this fresh new account. And I promise that this series is gonna be one of the funniest that we had thus far. The first match we're playing on Breeze, which is one of the best maps for Yoru, and we're immediately gonna start with some very important tips for proper team play and positioning.
Out of charges.
One enemy remaining.
Hold me, bro, hold me, man. Listen, guys, when you're holding the peak of the enemies, you need to ask yourself, like, can the enemy kill my teammate without me seeing him? If I'm defusing the spike here, you need to play here, bro, in order to be the first contact with the enemies, not vice versa. Now, when it comes to Yoru and his utility, I currently rate him as an A-tier agent for solo queue grind in Valorant. He is definitely really good, especially in lobbies from Ascendant to Radiant, and he can teach you a lot of different skill sets in this game. But the problem is that he might be a bit too complicated for low elo players or players that are just starting to play Valorant. And the reason why I never truly mained Yoru, even though I have a really high game knowledge on this character, is because he doesn't have the same level of consistency, versatility and self-sustainability as some other agents. But in the same time, it's so fun to play him, and the amount of big brain outplays that you can perform with his utility is unlimited. Like for an example, in this round we were left in a 2v2 scenario, and I know that one enemy is on the bomb site and one enemy is close to the broken wall. So I'm using a fake flash in the opposite direction from which I'm peeking in order to surprise them and keep my location a secret.
It's
Now, whenever you have ultimate and you're left in these clutch scenarios, it's better to avoid gambling, you trainwreck enjoyers. Simply use your ultimate in combination with a shorty and close out the round in an easy way, especially if enemies don't have enough time to plant or defuse the spike. Also here, you could have noticed that I'm using Operator even with someone such as Yoru. In Valorant, you really need to become the John Wick and master every single weapon that is good for a specific round or a specific scenario. Essentially, agents that you play don't matter at all, but the map that you're playing, what is yours and enemy's economy, as well as enemy's playstyle, dictate which weapons you want to primarily abuse during that specific round. For an example on Breeze, you really need to master using long-range weapons such as Sheriff, Marshal, Bulldog, Guardian, Outlaw, Vandal, and Operator. If you're playing on a defender side and you notice that enemies are swinging in choke points without a single recon or flash ability, abuse Operator with good positioning and crosshair placement for some easy kills. Or if you notice that they don't have enough money to purchase heavy shields, instead of Operator, buy Outlaw and go for some easy body shot kills. And with Yoru, after you make numbers advantage for your team, you can easily reposition yourself with his teleport to surprise enemies from another direction, or you can play safe with your allies on a refrag potential. The worst thing that you can do in Valorant is sticking only to one playstyle or playing only a few specific weapons. You need to fully develop yourself and become an adaptive player that can potentially win every single round regardless of your current economy. Now, when it comes to mastering Yoru's teleport, beside learning lineups, it's also extremely important to develop a good feeling for using improvised teleports. Essentially, you need to spend some time in a custom server or in-game and develop a feeling for teleport speed and trajectory, so that you can use them like this in a bit more freestyle form.
Out of charges.
This freestyle teleport onto enemy Omen was a bit risky, but you can notice that I was consistently checking my minimap and waiting for teleport to be exactly behind this backside wall, and if I teleported directly into elbow, that would be a certain death for me.
Charges.
One enemy remaining.
Time to jump.
Diffuse. No.
We have time.
Goodbye.
We have time.
Les amis, j'ai eu très...
Remember, my friends, developing your minimap awareness, game sense, and feeling for timings is extremely important if you want to become a Yoru main. Now, when you're on a defender side and you're playing passively, you always want to instantly place your first teleport for 3 specific purposes. Number 1, when you cannot read your enemies and you don't know which bomb site they're going to execute, you can use your first teleport for a fast rotation onto the opposite part of that map. Number 2, when you're 90% certain that enemies will hit the bomb site which you're playing at that moment of time, you can use your first teleport for some kind of an outplay on that specific site. Number 3, if you think that you can backstab your enemies and surprise them from behind, use your first teleport for some kind of a fast flank or lurk. In this round, I wasn't sure which bomb site enemies are going to execute, so I've used my first teleport for a fast rotation. Then I've used my clone to apply some pressure onto enemies, so that enemies don't hear my second teleport traveling as I'm preparing myself for a flash TP outplay.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Okay. Ouais, Yoru, frère. Yoru?
Okay.
I think that's
GG, have a nice day, bye-bye.
Attackers win.
All good. Now, the first game was nothing special, and the real big brain knowledge you're going to get a bit later. But now is the perfect moment of time to answer on one very important question that I get asked in almost every single video and live stream. Charlatan, how did you develop your reaction time to hold such a tight pixel angles? Good question, little gorilla. Let me explain. There are multiple different factors that impact your reaction time in FPS games, but the main 4 factors are the following. Number 1 factor is your ability to react on different colors as fast as possible. Essentially, you need to train your vision to perceive some colors as negative, positive, and neutral. For the last 15 years, I've consistently trained my vision to perceive yellow color as the negative color, and that's why I'm using the yellow outlines for enemies in Valorant and yellow color for targets in Aimlabs and Kovacs as well. Essentially, even if I see the tiniest yellow pixel anywhere on my screen, my focus is immediately shifted towards that pixel, and you can train this specific ability to notice enemies as fast as possible with various different practice tools. For an example, in the practice range, you can turn on easy, medium, or hard bots, and instead of looking directly onto targets, you can focus your main vision in the center of the range, and try to kill the bots purely based on your peripheral sight. Also, there are some external websites and tasks in aim training software that can help you improve faster. Factor number 2 is obviously your raw aim and natural reaction time, which you can only improve with proper and regular aim training routines and warm-ups. Number 3 factor is the proper coordination between your crosshair placement, positioning, and vision. Unfortunately, it's impossible for me to explain this topic completely during this video, but I'm gonna share with you one very simple example. Let's say I'm playing operator on bind and I want to hold B short from the window. I'll narrow down this angle as much as my reaction time allows me, and I'll hug the wall that is behind me in order to counter enemies' angle perception and peeker's advantage a bit. Then in this example, enemies are peeking me from right to left, so I'll place my crosshair far left in order to catch enemies' movement, no matter if they decide to go for some kind of a slow or fast peek. And as a final piece of this puzzle, I'm not looking at my crosshair, but in this example I'm actually looking towards this bottom right position because this wall is slightly curved, and the first thing that you notice from enemies are actually their legs. So as soon as I see the yellow color there, I'm instantly ready to micro-correct myself or to go for a straight shot depending on enemy's movement. And for the factor number 4, we unfortunately have your PC setup, equipment and peripherals, which are extremely important for your consistency and performance in Valorant. Good hardware won't instantly make you a better player, but it will significantly boost your skill ceiling and it will fully unlock your potential as a player. In one of my previous guides, I've said that for me Valorant is unplayable without a 144Hz monitor, 150 plus frame rate, solid internet connection and a good mouse. But things have changed a lot since then and peripherals got so much better. For an example, in the last 5 years, I've been consistently using some cheap 240Hz monitors with terrible motion blur, thinking that there is no way that I can see a difference between 240 and 360Hz or a significant difference between different monitor brands. But obviously, I was wrong. Around 3 months ago, Zowie was kind enough to send me one of their latest 360Hz monitors with DIAC Plus technology, and once I started playing on this monitor, it's like I've got a completely new pair of eyes. There is absolutely no way that I can go back to my old 240Hz monitor, and playing on 144Hz feels like I'm doing some kind of a challenge. For an example, when I was holding these tight pixel angles with my old monitors, I could have hit this shot 1 out of 10 times. But with this 360Hz Zowie monitor, I was able to hit this shot at least 30% of times, which is a significantly higher amount of kills. And once I tuned my monitor settings a bit and activated the DIAC Plus technology for the lowest amount of motion blur, these days I'm able to take a kill on these tight pixel angles at least 50% of time. And I simply cannot imagine how does it even feel playing on their latest 540Hz monitors that are coming in 2024. This video is sponsored by BenQ and I'm thankful for that, but I would never promote something that I personally wouldn't use myself. They've sent me this monitor while I was on my short vacation in North America, and I gave that monitor to one of my friends. While when I came back to my country, I immediately purchased the same monitor from my own pocket and I've been using it as my main since then. Now the moral of this story is, you can reach Radiant even if you play on a 60Hz monitor and bad equipment, but your grind is gonna be significantly harder and slower compared to playing on this latest tech and these new peripherals. I mean, there is a good reason why 99% of high elo players and professionals are always up to date when it comes to their equipment and peripherals. You always want to get the slightest edge over your enemies in the competitive games, and when it comes to this BenQ monitor, I can easily give it my Radiant Coach seal of approval, while I'll also believe that this monitor is currently the best bang for your buck. Now for the second match, we're traveling to Sunset. Remember that whenever you end up in a numbers disadvantage on attacker's side, you really need to play a bit slower, smart, and try to isolate enemies into 1 versus 1 gunfights. Usually the best idea is to wait a bit and to see if enemies are going to make some kind of an undisciplined mistake, such as peeking the angles for absolutely no reason like this fade, because the easiest thing that you can abuse in Valorant are players' lack of discipline and lack of team play. I mean, if you already end up in a 5v3 scenario on a defender side, you don't care about the enemies or map control anymore. Your whole gameplay should be organized in a way where your only focus is to fight together and abuse that numbers advantage. You can simply tuck yourself into the bomb sites, play safe, isolate angles in a smart way, and play on a refrag potential.
Time to jump. Fake teleport.
One enemy remaining.
Now, once we ended up in this 2v1 scenario, we made a lot of mistakes. Here, instead of going for this long rotation through mid, I should have just rotated with my ultimate, put a pressure onto enemy jet, and take an easy kill with my Sky. But also, instead of waiting for me and delaying the jet, my Sky decided to force a solo fight, which left me in this 1v1 scenario with only 61 HP, and obviously the easiest way to win this clutch would be with my ultimate and shorty. Remember, my friends, whenever you have the Yoru's ultimate or you're really close to having it, always buy shorty as a secondary weapon for some easy kills. Essentially, Yoru's ultimate, in combination with some shotgun, is extremely hard to counter if you fully isolate one enemy from the rest of his team, especially if you combine your ultimate with some other ability. For an example, you can get directly behind an enemy, deploy the clone in front of him, and go for a backstab kill. You can also wait for a perfect moment of time to pop flash that enemy, then get out of your ultimate and delete him. Or if you don't have any other piece of utility, you can simply jump out from your ultimate behind that enemy, and there is 90% of chance that he won't be able to kill you. But also remember, when you're going for these type of plays, it's really good to place your teleport onto some safe location, where you can easily TP out once you get a kill, or if you end up in some effed up scenario.
Last player standing.
I'll handle this. I'm back.
Bro, my dude chose... Now, this would have been an easy kill if I didn't make another mistake, which was the position from which I decided to flash and engage this jet. Instead of doing all of this from left wall, I should have done it from right wall, since I'm much closer to the jet, and also Spike is planted in a way where it was logical that she's either gonna jump towards the backside or towards the right wall once she gets flashed. Also, when I was getting out of my ultimate, I should have jumped forward instead of moving sideways. Because of these positioning mistakes, I wasn't in the effective range of using shorty, which is usually 0 to 4 meters if you want to kill an enemy with 2 shots from this shotgun. Better luck next time, charlatan, or use your brain, dumbass. Now, in the first round of Defender's Half on Sunset, I always start around Market with every agent, since B-site is our default bomb set on this map, and keeping the Market and top mid control is extremely important. If you're not fighting for mid control, simply close the doors as soon as the round starts and play fast rotations on the first contact between enemies and your teammates. With Yoru on both attackers and defender side, my usual loadout for the first round is Classic, Light Shield, Teleport, Clone and Flash, since with this agent it's extremely easy to close the gap with the enemies and abuse the Classic pistol, while the only exceptions would be Breeze and Icebox. Now, in this round, enemies decided to do a fast push through mid, and I was simply using my fake teleports to distract them and to play a bit of a mind games.
Time to jump.
Enemy spotted mid. Hawk out. Multiple enemies mid.
Spike down mid.
Fake teleport.
Careful here.
Enemy spotted mid.
One enemy remaining. Spike down mid.
Spike spotted mid.
Last player standing.
Fake teleport.
Nice, good shot.
2 versus 1 scenario. Good job. We're already playing against Platinum 3 and Diamond 3 players. Ranked solo queue.
Listen to me. Henry,
Yeah, you're so funny.
where is your rank, man? Not good. I say you go low and you will be our friend. Henry, what's your problem?
Now, already in the agent select, we established that our teammates are mentally unstable, so we need to carry them hard. One of the main perks of Yoru's ultimate is clutch potential in eco or hull by rounds. And these rounds are usually the best moment of time for you to use your ultimate for some easy kills, and grab a free weapon that will give you higher chances of winning that specific round.
Time to jump. Fake teleport.
Last
Spike
player
carrier
standing.
dead.
Upper.
Spike down
jump.
B.
54 Sova.
Go Ivan.
うるせえんだよ。
After I ended up in this 1v2 clutch scenario, I know that enemy Cypher is in B main, but I have absolutely no idea where is the enemy Omen. That's why I'm playing a bit slower and trying to clear as many angles as possible before I pick up the spike and take some kind of a gunfight in B main, because I don't want to end up in some kind of a sandwich and I'm more of a beef type of guy. But enemies for some reason gave me the spike for free, and planting this spike on B side would be an absolute sudoku. I know that enemy Cypher has a full setup for C side, so I'm slowly making my way onto A side instead, which is the most logical game decision.
10 seconds left. One enemy remaining.
Obviously, this was pure luck, but the question is, what the f is enemy Omen doing here? Please, for the love of God, play on refrag potential when you have numbers advantage. If I was that Omen, I would have just teleported in B main long time ago, protected the spike with my Cypher, and deleted this Yoru noob. But thankfully, this Omen doesn't watch my guides, and that's why he's gonna stay a Hearthstone Gorilla forever. So if you don't want to stay a Hearthstone Gorilla forever, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like, since you're already down there, baby. Now, moving back into the round, whenever you're playing a post-plan scenario with Yoru, you always need to have some kind of a plan and prepare yourself. Here, I've used my teleport into the drop, and I'm playing in a completely opposite direction, so that I can use it as a fake teleport to keep my location a secret, and potentially outplay this Cypher.
Fake teleport.
Nice, Yoru. Nice round, bro.
The entry potential of Yoru is unlimited, and his ultimate is extremely good to counter sentinel players on attacker's side. Generally speaking, whenever you notice that only one player is guarding some bomb site, use your ultimate, delete that enemy, and voila! You have a free bomb site for your team. Now in this post-plant, ADHD hit me hard and I wasted both of my teleports for nothing. Don't do this, my friends. You always want to have some kind of a plan when you're using your utility. But we took a site for free, made a 5v4 numbers advantage, and now we can just play this post-plant passively and on a refrag potential. Isn't that right, my lovely teammates?
Buried.
143 Omen, 1 HP Omen.
Too easy.
1 HP Omen.
One enemy remaining.
Die.
Nice.
People.
Well, I guess playing passively and on a refrag potential isn't really in a vocabulary of Valorant players. Now on defender side, we lost the first round, and in second eco round, usually I prefer playing shorty over any other weapon, especially with movement agents such as Omen, Raze, Jet and Yoru, because you can easily outplay the enemies and take some free kills that might win you these type of rounds. One quick mention here, before I engaged enemies with shorty, I've used a safe teleport so that I can reposition myself after I get a kill. After this kill on Sage, we ended up in numbers disadvantage, so playing passively isn't an option anymore. I decided to abuse this terrible Omen smoke to close the gap with enemies and use my pop flash to potentially get at least one more kill. And as soon as I got this kill on Jet, once again I'm using a safe teleport into CT for fast repositioning.
One enemy remaining.
On site.
Close to you.
Last player standing.
Even though we lost this eco round, it really doesn't matter at all, because there are three things that you need to understand about eco rounds in Valorant. Number 1, whenever you're playing some kind of an eco or hull by round, your primary focus isn't really winning that round, but your main task is damaging enemies' economy, preserving your own economy, and building up the ultimate abilities for your team. Number 2, in these rounds, another goal of yours is trading yourself for at least 1 or 2 kills before you die, because it's easier for your teammates to win a 4v4 or 4v3 eco round rather than playing a 5v5 eco round in a default way or on a refrag potential. Number 3, that is why in these rounds you always want to play a bit more aggressive and outside of the box, abusing some kind of a weapon or strategy to kill at least 1 or 2 enemies. And you should never feel afraid to die during those rounds, as long as you're trying to do something proactively. Eco rounds you're kinda meant to lose by default, and if you play those rounds in the same way that you play full buy rounds, chances are even higher that you're gonna lose them. You need to gamble a bit more, stack some bomb site together, try to do some aggressive outplay, abuse powerful eco weapons for a specific map, like for an example on defender side of Lotus, Bind, Split, and some other claustrophobic maps, Shorty can usually grant you at least 1 free kill, while on maps such as Breeze and Icebox, you might get a few long-range picks with Marshall for an example. One of the main problems for my private coaching students is that they have a terrible KD and impact in eco rounds, because they're either not using the proper eco weapons for a specific map, they're playing eco rounds in a standard way, or they're playing eco rounds in the same way they would play full buy rounds. Also, a lot of Valorant players are not even trying to win those eco rounds. They've already lost them in their brain before the round even started. Remember, my friends, if you truly want to grind the solo queue jungle of Valorant, you need to become a useful asset for your team in every single round that you play. And there isn't a single round or a single match that is unwinnable. There's always some kind of a solution that can grant you higher chances of winning your rounds and winning your games. Now in this round you will witness how much I'm actually focused on following all of the rules and tips that I'm sharing with you. One close to me.
One enemy remaining.
Yes, in this example I thought that I have a shorty with myself, since I always bite when I have Yoru's ultimate available. But I didn't have enough credits in this round, so I pulled out the classic. GG boys. Now, as I've already said, usually in the first round on Breeze, I play with Sheriff or Ghost and some utility, since this is an extremely long-range map and close-range weapons are not viable at all. And also in the first round on Defender side, I always start on B site and play with a fast rotation teleport, since B site is your default bomb site on this map. Already pushing a site. One dead. Focus, Charlatania, focus.
One enemy remaining.
Focus. After this Yoru kill, I've decided to play closer to my Viper since we have 2v1 numbers advantage, and we can just play on a reframe potential, but also I position an improvised teleport for B site so that I can use it for some kind of a fake or fast rotation, but this is what actually happened.
10 seconds left.
You died last.
Listen. This was not a risky play. I was paying attention, I was looking at the timer. When he started planting the spike, I waited for 2 seconds because there was 4 seconds left on the timer. Even if I died there, round is won. Think about it. Now I'm just gonna let you enjoy this round because this is pure game awareness and feeling for timings, which you can only develop through backseat coaching, playtime and VOD reviews.
Surprise. Time to jump. Killed them. I'll handle this.
Backside. Remain backside.
I'm back.
One enemy remaining.
He was mid.
It's B.
Oh yeah, he might.
Your biggest mistake was that.
Nice.
Pissed me off.
Now on the attacker side of Breeze, what I usually buy is Ghost, Flash and Fake Out, or Fake Out and 2 teleports for the first round. And on Breeze, whenever enemies don't have a single Sentinel or Viper in their team, the best idea is to push B side for 3 rounds in a row. Usually the best pattern on attacker side is to execute one bomb site 3 times in a row in order to create an unpredictable pattern of pushing, which is gonna apply enormous amount of mental pressure for enemies on one site, and then in the 4th round you can do some kind of a fake and completely outplay the enemies. Of course, this pattern you can only abuse if the map design and team compositions actually allow you to, and I'll cover all of these unpredictable attacker side patterns in depth in some of my future videos. I'll push from the elbow.
Decoy. Cutting through.
Enemy spotted mid.
Dead. Fake teleport.
One mid.
Time to jump. Anyone else?
One tunnel. One tunnel, one wall. One
Fake teleport.
Last player standing.
52.
Time to jump.
On server.
Fake teleport.
One enemy remaining.
Good job.
So I saved the day.
Remember, my friends, whenever you're playing postplant and you're in a huge numbers disadvantage, you need to surprise and isolate enemies before they all group up together and stomp you on the site. Don't be a passive gorilla. Grab your cojones, activate your brain, and clutch the round.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Time to jump.
tunnel last.
Fake teleport.
Knife.
Now, at the start of this round, I've used this lineup to position my teleport behind the yellow box on A site, which unfortunately I couldn't use for some kind of an execute, since I've noticed on the minimap that our Viper is going alone through A main, and I've used it as a fake teleport to potentially distract enemies and allow my Viper to sneak into the bomb site without being noticed. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to save her. Here, I know that enemy Reyna is backside with Operator, and that's why I'm using the flash on the right side to fake my location and to push her from the opposite direction. But this is what happened.
Spike down A.
Now, after this magical kill on Sova, I'm left in a 1v2 clutch scenario. I know that enemy Jet is at the mid doors, and that enemy Reyna dismissed into A main with Operator. That's why here I'm using my improvised teleport for A main in order to isolate and kill this Reyna before Jet connects with her.
One enemy remaining.
After this kill, for some autopiloting reasons, even though I have ultimate to pick up the spike and I can easily kill this Jet with a shorty, I've decided to engage her in a clean gunfight with my Radiant Bikini bottom aim.
10 seconds left.
As you can see, Yoru is an amazing agent to clutch the rounds and outplay the enemies, but you really need to be fully focused. Pay a close attention on the minimap, and you need to develop a really strong feeling for timings in the game. That's why this agent isn't maybe the best pick for low elo players in Valorant. Also, when you're going for these aggressive teleport plays with a flash, such as this one, you need to master two things. Numero uno, you want to teleport at the moment of time when the flash is just about to bounce from the wall. Numero dos, you always want to place your crosshair in the direction of that enemy so that you don't need to do some kind of a crazy 90-degree or 180-degree flick. That's why in this example, before I went in with a teleport, I placed my crosshair all the way to the right side, because that's where Reyna was hiding in the A main area. And remember that you always teleport looking in direction where you were looking at before a teleport. Same as with Omen. Cristiano Ronaldo has 16 kills. Now, the last game on Lotus was just a pure team diff. Enemies gave up from the 4th round and we somehow won this match, even though we had hell of a toxic teammates. But anyways, here's a nice clutch for you.
Enemy punished.
Last player standing.
Killed them.
150 in a killjoy.
One enemy remaining.
Nice, Yoru.
In these games where your teammates are toxic but they still want to play, every round matters quite a lot. You need to be fully dialed in and focus on compensating every single mistake that they make, because if you lose only one easy round, that might also be a trigger for them to troll and the game is over for you. Remember, my friends, in ranked jungle, you must become the nightmare for enemies and a babysitter for your allies.
I'm back. Cutting through.
One enemy remaining.
Phoenix, you're so fucking dumb. Go fucking drown yourself because you're so useless and fucking shut the fuck up, you fucking arch!
So in this first episode, to my surprise, we won all 5 placement matches and somehow we are starting all the way from Diamond 2. Let's see for how long we're going to keep our 100% win rate. Thank you for watching and I'll see you, my dear tricksters, in the next one.